Now at 10, reaction to President Biden removing Cuba from the list of countries that sponsor terrorism during his last week in office. He also lifted sanctions on companies run by Cuba's military. And in a separate announcement, Cuba says it will release hundreds of political prisoners. CBC's Miami's Anna McAllister is live from Little Havana outside a Versailles restaurant. And Anna, what is the Cuban community here in South Florida saying about this move?
Jim, everyone I've spoken to today, they say the same thing. They are appalled by this decision. They tell me they're not happy at all, and they say that they're looking forward to next week where they're hopeful that President-elect Donald Trump will reverse this decision.
We support Trump! We support Trump!
A passionate group of Cubans showed up with flags and signs in hand outside of Versailles, protesting President Joe Biden's decision to remove Cuba from the sponsors of terrorism list.
No se puede estar comiendo en el mismo plato.
We can't be eating from the same plate. We can't be giving them support to this dictatorship. We have to destroy them. If not, they will destroy us.
Biden es un criminal. The regime en Cuba es terrorist. De Biden support to Díaz-Canel. No, it's terrorist.
According to government officials, the move was part of a deal to free political prisoners in return for fewer sanctions and a more normalized relationship with Cuba. The Catholic Church facilitated the agreement, and the Cuban Foreign Ministry told Pope Francis more than 550 prisoners would be freed. But Cubans here in South Florida aren't happy.
How are you going to take them out of the list of terrorism? That government has been killing people there for 65 years.
Florida's elected officials are also speaking out.
This is something actually I quite expected. The fact that it took this long is actually surprising, but it's a final shot and just proof of the pudding that, yes, everything, this administration has been a disaster for America, a disaster for the people, freedom-seeking people of Latin America, especially Cuba. And again, it's a fitting farewell to this disastrous administration.
Both the Florida Democratic Party and the Florida GOP have released statements condemning Biden's decision. Those who advocate for Cuba's freedom say this deal will only embolden those running the country.
As long as concessions are given to the regime over the release of hostages that they take, it's a never-ending cycle where this terrorist regime manages to buy time and to remain in power.
Miguel Díaz-Canel, Cuba's leader, tweeted about Biden's decision, saying in part, "I thank all those who contributed to the decision announced today by the United States to remove Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism, where it should have never been." Marco Rubio, who was nominated to be the Secretary of State, is Cuban, and his family fled the country in the 1950s. He and other Republicans, like President-elect Donald Trump, have been outspoken about their concerns with Cuba, and it's likely that the decision will be reversed once President-elect Trump takes office. And when former President Obama was in office, he also took Cuba off of this list. But when President-elect Donald Trump, he took his first term, he reversed that decision as well. But for now, reporting live from Little Havana, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.